What happens when a child stands up against the odds, only to face a system that has already decided his fate? Imagine the fierce heart of a 13-year-old black boy, Malik, as he steps into a courtroom to testify. But in a place where justice is supposed to prevail, he's met with something far different: skepticism, prejudice, and a racist prosecutor who has already judged him without hearing a word. The courtroom is filled with tension, the weight of the trial hanging in the air. Malik walks nervously to the witness stand, the pressure mounting as he faces the prosecutor. This isn't just any trial. This is the moment that could change everything for him. The room is buzzing with anticipation, and Malik's heart pounds in his chest, his palms sweating. As he stands there, trying to steady his breath, the prosecutor, a middle-aged white man with an air of superiority, eyes Malik dismissively. The prosecutor's tone is condescending as he begins his cross-examination. "You expect me to believe your side of the story, Malik?" The prosecutor sneers, not even attempting to hide his disdain. "A young boy like you, who spent his life in trouble. Do you really expect anyone to take you seriously?" Malik's breath catches in his throat. He knows he hasn't done anything wrong. He knows he's not the criminal the prosecutor is making him out to be. But the way the prosecutor looks at him, like he's already guilty, makes his stomach churn. Malik fights to keep his composure. He can't let the prosecutor's words shake him. Not now. Not here. The prosecutor continues, his voice dripping with mockery. "I bet you think this courtroom is going to be your big break, huh? Let me tell you something, boy. You're just another statistic." The words sting, but Malik stands tall, fighting back the anger that surges within him. His life has been nothing but a series of assumptions based on the color of his skin. But this time, he won't let it happen. He won't let them turn him into what they want him to be. As the prosecutor keeps throwing accusations and questioning Malik's credibility, something unexpected happens. Malik's voice rises above the noise of the courtroom. "I'm telling you the truth," he says, his words steady but firm. "I didn't do it, and I'm not going to let you treat me like I'm guilty because of how I look." The room falls silent. The judge raises an eyebrow, and the audience shifts uncomfortably in their seats. Malik's words hang in the air, challenging everything that the prosecutor, and maybe even the system, has come to expect. The prosecutor, momentarily thrown off guard, smirks, clearly not willing to back down. "Oh, I'm sure you didn't," he replies sarcastically. "But it doesn't matter what you say. Your kind never changes." At those words, a ripple runs through the courtroom. The audience is on edge, sensing something bigger than just this trial. They realize that Malik isn't just standing up for himself. He's standing up against a system that has already condemned him, based on nothing but assumptions and prejudice. The judge's gavel strikes sharply, silencing the room. "Enough," she says, her voice echoing through the courtroom. "We will take a recess." As the courtroom empties, Malik remains standing, his heart still racing but with a newfound strength in his chest. This moment, this defiance, has shaken the prosecutor and the whole courtroom. Malik has made them see him for who he truly is, a young boy with his own truth, his own story, and the courage to stand up to anyone who tries to tear him down. For the first time, Malik knows he has taken control of his own fate. What happens next will change everything. But for now, he's just one step closer to making sure his voice will be heard. Malik is a 13-year-old boy who has always been aware of the challenges life has thrown his way. He was raised by his single mother in a modest neighborhood, where opportunities are scarce and systemic barriers run deep. His mother, a strong woman who works tirelessly to make ends meet, has always told Malik to keep his head high, reminding him that no matter how hard things get, his dreams were still worth fighting for. She always encouraged him to stay focused on his future, one where he could rise above the limitations placed on him. Despite the obstacles, Malik is driven. He excels in school and dreams of becoming a lawyer, hoping to fight for justice one day. He's passionate about righting the wrongs he's seen in his community and the world around him. Although he's only 13, Malik has already faced the harsh realities of racial injustice, from discrimination in school to unfair treatment by police officers in his neighborhood. Despite it all, Malik has stayed determined, using the wisdom and teachings of his mother as his guide. Malik is intelligent, quick-witted, and articulate, traits that set him apart. But despite his qualities, he's often dismissed by authority figures who see him as just another problem child from a poor neighborhood. People in power look at him with skepticism and often judge him for things that have nothing to do with who he really is. They assume that because of his background, he can't possibly succeed or make anything of himself. But Malik refuses to accept those labels. His bravery and honesty shine through, even when others don't believe in him. He knows his worth and is determined to prove it, starting today in this courtroom. Mark Mitchell, the prosecutor, is a man who has built a career on a reputation of being tough, sharp, and always in control. With years of experience under his belt, Mark is accustomed to winning cases and maintaining an image of authority. He's highly respected within the legal community, but that respect is rooted in something less than admirable: his own deeply ingrained racial biases. Mitchell has always viewed the challenges in his community through a lens of prejudice. He sees black boys like Malik as symbols of societal decay, rather than individuals who deserve an opportunity to be heard or understood. To him, Malik represents everything that is wrong with his perception of the world. Youths he believes are bound for trouble and failure, no matter what they say or how hard they try. Mark's personal biases have been exposed before, though not without consequence. He's made racially insensitive comments in the past, but his colleagues have mostly turned a blind eye. His power and influence in the courtroom have kept him from facing true accountability for his actions. No one dares challenge him directly, until now. Malik's presence in the courtroom, a young black boy testifying in a case he's been unfairly accused in, presents a challenge that Mark doesn't know how to handle. He automatically assumes that Malik is guilty, simply because of where he's from and the way he looks. When Malik speaks, when he defends himself, Mark's dismissive attitude shows. He scoffs at the idea that Malik could be innocent or articulate enough to defend himself. The prosecutor's arrogance and disdain for Malik are evident as he moves through his cross-examination. He's not listening to Malik's words or taking his defense seriously. Instead, he's focusing on how he can twist the situation to make Malik seem like a stereotype, a young black boy caught up in a mess, a kid who doesn't deserve respect. Mark's actions are guided by his own prejudice, and he's about to make a crucial mistake that will change everything for both him and Malik. This time, the kid he's so quick to dismiss is going to challenge the very foundation of Mark's beliefs, and he will do it with a truth that Mark can no longer ignore. The trial continues with tension rising, but it's clear that Malik's resolve is unwavering. He's ready to stand up, not only for himself, but for every child who has ever been unfairly judged because of their race or background. What happens next will alter the course of the trial, and, potentially, the trajectory of Malik's life, marking the beginning of a new chapter for both him and the prosecutor, who underestimated him. What if one moment of truth could change the course of everything? The question lingers in the air as Malik, still standing in the witness box, takes a deep breath. The prosecutor, Mark Mitchell, stands across from him, his sneering expression growing with each word he belittles Malik with. Mark's voice rings out as he interrupts Malik's testimony, his words sharp and condescending. "You expect us to believe this? A kid like you, telling such a ridiculous story. You're just trying to save yourself. This is childish." The courtroom goes still as Malik is publicly humiliated, the weight of Mark's words sinking into the air like a thick fog. Mark doesn't stop there. He continues, louder now, his voice dripping with racism, as he questions Malik's credibility, not based on the truth of his testimony, but solely on the color of his skin. "Someone like you," Mark sneers, "how could you possibly know anything about justice? You've grown up in a place where no one cares about that. You're not even fit to understand the system." Gasps ripple through the audience. Some shift uncomfortably in their seats. Others look on in disbelief. Malik's mother, sitting in the gallery, fights to hold back tears. Her heart aches watching her son endure this attack, but she remains silent, hoping that Malik will keep his composure. But Malik does not falter. Despite the sting of the prosecutor's words, his face remains calm, his posture unbroken. He stands tall, and as the courtroom watches in anticipation, he opens his mouth to speak. "I'm not just some kid here for a story. I'm the key witness," Malik says, his voice steady but unwavering. The room falls into stunned silence, the shift in the air palpable. Mark's expression changes. The smug look on his face fades as Malik continues, each word hitting harder than the last. "This case," Malik explains, "involves my father, who was wrongfully convicted of a crime he didn't commit. He's serving time for something he never did, and I'm here to make sure his truth is heard." The shock in the courtroom is almost tangible. Mark stumbles for a moment, completely caught off guard. His face turns pale, realizing the gravity of what Malik has just revealed. The case that he thought he had under control is not what he believed it to be. Suddenly, the lines between judge, prosecutor, and the system they serve begin to blur. Mark tries to recover, but the words come out weakly, fumbling. "Wait a minute. Your father?" His voice shakes slightly, betraying the momentary panic that grips him. Malik nods. "Yes, and I'm here because I know what it's like to be accused of something I didn't do. My dad was wrongfully convicted, and now I'm doing what I can to make sure my family's truth gets heard." The courtroom falls silent as Mark's world shatters. The truth, Malik's truth, hits him harder than anything else. In his arrogance, he assumed Malik was nothing more than a young black boy trying to wriggle out of responsibility, someone who could be dismissed. Now, that assumption has crumbled in front of him, and he is left stunned, speechless. The audience watches as the prosecutor's expression changes from smug confidence to disbelief. Mark opens his mouth to respond, but closes it quickly, not knowing what to say. His earlier attacks on Malik seem foolish now, almost laughable in comparison to the magnitude of the truth laid out before him. The courtroom buzzes, whispers filling the air as people begin to process what they've just heard. Some can hardly believe the shift they've just witnessed in the young boy who had been so quickly judged. They now realize that Malik's words are far more than just a defense. They are a call for fairness, a plea for justice that has been denied not just to him, but to his father as well. Malik's calm presence has shattered the prosecutor's prejudices, and now the audience sees Malik for what he truly is, a brave, intelligent young man fighting not just for himself but for the truth. He's not some problem child, as Mark had assumed, but someone with a voice that needs to be heard, someone with a future that cannot be ignored. Now, the ball is in Mark's court. He looks down, avoiding eye contact, as the weight of his actions settles on him. He had underestimated Malik, but now he realizes that this young boy's courage and integrity are far stronger than his own biases. Where are you watching from, and what time is it? Do you think Malik's bravery shows us the true meaning of courage and kindness? Share your thoughts below. The silence in the courtroom deepens as Malik's words hang in the air, leaving a heavy impact on everyone present. The truth has been spoken, and the room is now filled with the weight of it all. Malik's revelation shatters the false narrative that the prosecutor, Mark Mitchell, had built, and the ripple effect is immediate. The audience shifts in their seats, murmuring, as the implications of Malik's testimony begin to settle in. Malik, though only 13, has just exposed the truth that has been buried for so long. His father, who has been imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit, is now a step closer to freedom. Malik's voice, unwavering and clear, has finally brought the lies to light. The case against his father is based on false evidence, and the entire foundation of the prosecutor's argument has crumbled. It's not just about this trial anymore. It's about the entire system of injustice that has plagued Malik's family for years. For the first time, the audience sees the full picture, and the reality of the situation begins to sink in. Malik's courage, his willingness to speak out when so many others would have remained silent, has not only put the spotlight on the truth, but has also brought his family's fight for justice closer to its resolution. As the room absorbs this new information, the prosecutor, Mark Mitchell, shifts uncomfortably in his seat. His once confident and dismissive demeanor fades into a look of shock and disbelief. His entire case, his reputation, his career, it's all falling apart in front of him. The truth that Malik has shared is undeniable, and the weight of his own biases and misconduct is now exposed for all to see. His face turns pale, his hands shaking as he tries to regain control of the situation. But it's too late. The damage has been done. The courtroom, once his domain where his judgments went unchallenged, is now witnessing the unraveling of his credibility. The truth Malik spoke is louder than any of Mark's accusations, and everyone in the room knows it. Malik's bravery has not only exposed the flaws in the prosecutor's case, but has also revealed the deep-rooted biases that clouded his judgment from the start. The idea that a black boy from a lower-income background could never be the key to unlocking justice has been shattered, and it's all because of Malik's unwavering commitment to the truth. Mark tries to salvage his position, but his words are faltering. He attempts to recover from the blow, offering weak justifications and attempting to deflect responsibility. But his efforts are hollow, as the courtroom now sees him for what he truly is, an individual whose biases and prejudices have affected the lives of countless people. The public, the court, and even his colleagues now see the cracks in his facade, and they cannot ignore what has just transpired. Malik, a young boy with an unshakable sense of justice, has not only exposed the truth, but has also shaken the very foundation of the system that allowed his father's wrongful conviction to stand for so long. In the face of Malik's truth, the prosecutor's career is on the line. His once impressive reputation is now marred by the actions of a boy who dared to stand up for what was right. The public and those in the courtroom cannot ignore the shift in power. Mark Mitchell, the prosecutor who once held so much sway, is now a figure of disgrace, his own actions condemned by the very truth he tried to suppress. Malik's testimony becomes a symbol of resilience and justice. The room that once dismissed him, the court that had barely acknowledged his worth, is now witnessing the power of a single voice. Malik's courage has changed the course of his own life and has set into motion a broader conversation about justice, race, and accountability in the system. Malik has become the catalyst for change. The courtroom that had previously seen him as just another black child, easily dismissed and overlooked, now recognizes the power of his words and the strength of his resolve. The prosecutor, exposed for his biases and misconduct, now stands in the shadow of Malik's truth. Malik's story is no longer just about one boy's fight for justice. It's a symbol of how one brave individual can shatter the barriers of prejudice and change the course of history. The very courtroom that sought to silence him is now his stage for victory. His truth, his bravery, and his unwavering commitment to justice have created a ripple effect that no one in the room can ignore. This is Malik's moment, and it is only the beginning. Malik's bravery and unwavering commitment to justice have left a lasting impact on the courtroom, and the ripples of his actions reach far beyond the walls of the courthouse. The prosecutor, Mark Mitchell, is swiftly held accountable for his actions. An internal investigation into his conduct reveals a pattern of unethical behavior, not just in this case, but in several others where his biases clouded his judgment. His handling of Malik's case and his treatment of the young boy is deemed unacceptable, and the prosecutor is forced to resign. The news of his resignation is met with mixed reactions, some outraged by the injustice, but others hopeful that this marks the beginning of real change. The case against Malik's father, which had been mishandled for so long, is now reopened. Evidence that was previously overlooked is revisited, and the truth finally comes to light. Malik's actions, his courage in the face of such adversity, have not only helped his father, but have exposed the systemic issues that continue to plague the justice system. The public is appalled by the way Malik had been treated and the way his family had been wronged for years. A public apology is issued to Malik, and his family is finally given the respect they deserve. Malik is offered the opportunity to complete his testimony, something that once seemed impossible for a young black boy, and with it, the chance to correct the narrative that had been so unfairly twisted against him. As Malik takes the stand once again, he's no longer just a boy standing up for his family. He's become a symbol of hope for so many others. His courage and integrity resonate with everyone in the courtroom, and the truth he speaks is undeniable. His testimony isn't just about the details of the case. It's about exposing the biases that exist within the justice system and fighting for a future where these injustices no longer take root. The courtroom, once a place where Malik's voice was silenced, now echoes with the power of his words and the change he has set into motion. The impact of Malik's testimony is felt across the country, sparking conversations about reform and accountability within the legal system. People from all walks of life rally behind him, inspired by his resilience and his ability to stand tall in the face of adversity. Social media buzzes with messages of support, and advocates for racial justice and legal reform see Malik as a beacon of change. His story becomes a rallying cry for those who have been wronged or overlooked, a symbol of the fight for fairness and equality. As Malik walks out of the courtroom, his mother is there waiting for him, pride shining in her eyes. She knows that her son has not only secured justice for his father, but has helped bring about a much-needed shift in how the justice system treats black children and families. Her heart swells with pride as she sees how Malik's bravery has not only changed the course of their family's life, but has also changed the lives of so many others who will come after him. She knows that Malik has become more than just a hero in their community. He's become a hero for anyone who's ever been wronged, for anyone who's ever been made to feel small. The courtroom, once a symbol of prejudice and bias, is now a symbol of change. The future that Malik is helping to create is one where young black voices like his are heard and respected. It's a future where the truth prevails, no matter the race, no matter the background. Malik has not only brought justice to his father, he's started a movement that will continue to grow, spreading the message that fairness and accountability must be the foundation of the justice system. The changes that Malik has ignited are just beginning, and his courage has laid the groundwork for a brighter, more inclusive future. As Malik and his mother step outside the courthouse, they know that the road ahead will still have challenges, but the victory they've won is monumental. Malik's story will be remembered as a turning point in the fight for justice, and he will continue to stand for what's right, using his newfound platform to help others find their voice. His actions have proven that no matter how young or how overlooked you may be, one person's bravery can change the world. Malik's legacy will live on, not just in his community, but in the hearts of everyone who's ever fought for justice. He has shown that courage is not just about standing up for yourself, but standing up for others, even when the odds are stacked against you. The courtroom that once sought to silence him now stands as a testament to the power of truth and the need for systemic change. Malik's journey is far from over, but with every step he takes, he is paving the way for a better future for all. The legal system begins to transform as Malik's bravery forces those within the system to reevaluate their approach to bias and fairness. The ripple effect of his testimony shakes the very foundation of a system that has long been plagued by inequality. Malik's courage not only frees his father, but begins a larger movement toward fairness for all, particularly for marginalized communities. The case that once seemed like a routine matter for the court has now sparked a larger conversation about how biases impact decisions, especially within the justice system. The legal community, once resistant to change, starts to acknowledge the deep-seated issues that have long been ignored. Legal scholars and reformers begin to implement new strategies to address racial bias in courtrooms, and many begin to ask how the system can better serve black children, families, and communities. Malik's name becomes synonymous with challenging oppression and standing up for what's right. Young advocates from all over the country look to him as an example of what true courage looks like. Someone who was unafraid to stand up in the face of unfairness, no matter how intimidating the system may seem. The courtroom itself, once a place where Marcus had been ridiculed and discounted, becomes a space for real change. The prosecutor, Mark Mitchell, and others like him are now being held accountable for their actions, and conversations about inclusivity and racial justice in the legal field become a priority. Legal professionals, policymakers, and activists begin working together to create a system that is more just, more equitable, and more attuned to the needs of marginalized communities. Malik's bravery in the courtroom has set the stage for an era of transformation, and the system begins to reflect his values of fairness, truth, and equality. As Malik walks out of the courthouse for the last time, the weight of the moment is evident. He is no longer the timid boy who was mocked by the prosecutor. He is now a young hero who has changed the course of justice for countless others. His actions have not only secured freedom for his father, but have made a lasting impact on the legal system itself. The crowd that gathers outside the courthouse, watching the young boy who had challenged the status quo, now sees him for what he is, a symbol of hope and resilience. Malik's mother, who has stood by him through every hardship, is waiting for him outside. She rushes to embrace him, pride shining in her eyes. The love and support she has shown him throughout his journey have given Malik the strength to keep going, even when the world seemed to be against him. They stand together, a powerful reminder of what can happen when one person dares to speak the truth and fight for justice. As the sun sets on the courthouse steps, Malik reflects on how far he has come, not just in this case, but in the way he has changed the lives of others. The work is far from over, but he knows this is just the beginning. The future is bright, and his voice will continue to echo in the halls of justice. No one should ever be judged by the color of their skin, but by the truth of their actions. Justice is for everyone,